Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Evie Stevie from the True Off My Chest subreddit, and it says, my mother-in-law cut my hair in my sleep because she thought I cheated on my husband. So I'm still processing this, but I need to get it off my chest. Last night I woke up and realized someone had butchered my hair. One side is a jagged pixie cut and the other side hangs awkwardly past my shoulders. At first I thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I sleepwalked or something. But no. I confronted my husband Tim because he's been acting weird lately, but he denied it. Then he drops the bombshell. My mum. She might have done it. Apparently, my mother-in-law, let's call her Diane, is convinced I've been cheating on Tim. Why? Because last week she saw me having lunch with a co-worker. For the record, the co-worker, Kyle, is gay, and we were literally talking about work. But Diane decided I must be having an affair, and instead of, talking to me or Tim, she broke into our house in the middle of the night with scissors, and she went full Edward Scissorhands on my hair. This morning, I confronted her. At first she played innocent, but when I pressed her, she literally said, well, maybe you'll think twice before humiliating my son. I was fuming. I told her Kyle isn't even into women, but she just rolled her eyes and said something like, that's what they all say. I didn't even know how to respond to that level of delusion. Tim is horrified and apologetic, but I'm struggling here. This woman violated my personal space, destroyed my hair, and acted like she was in the right. I wanted to go no contact with her, but Tim is stuck between me and his mum, and I feel like this is going to be a huge blow up in our marriage. Any advice? Because I'm honestly at a loss here. I think OP needs to go a step further than no contact. Breaking in, assaulting you. I'm absolutely sorry you had to go through that because it's horrifying. And incredibly scary that she did that, but it also shows what she's capable of. If you really think about it, she broke into their house in the middle of the night, snuck into their bedroom while they were sleeping. How fucked up is that? Took scissors to OP's head, all because she was having lunch with a co-worker, because she saw her sitting down with someone having lunch. There was no discussion, no questions asked, just straight to breaking in and assault. And if she's willing to do that over lunch, what else is she capable of if she has other suspicions? And Tim needs to get his priorities straight because this is about OP's safety, because that is fucked up. OP then adds an edit to that post before the comments and says, my husband and I will be going to my mother-in-law tomorrow to talk to her about the situation again. Hopefully everyone will be calmed down by then and I won't have to threaten legal action. Thank you for all the support and suggestions. We'll keep them in mind. Edit 2, to everyone saying this is fake, I don't know how to make you believe me, and honestly, I shouldn't have to. I'm sitting here crying in my friend's guest room, completely broken, trying to make sense of how my life has fallen apart in the span of 24 hours. My husband, the person I thought I could trust the most, betrayed me in the most humiliating way possible. His mother violated me in my sleep, and now strangers are telling me my pain isn't real. I wish with everything in me that this wasn't real. And I wish I wasn't sitting here trying to figure out how to rebuild my life, how to ever trust someone again, or how to even face people around me after this. I've barely eaten, I've been shaking all day, and I feel like my world is crumbling beneath me. I turned to Reddit because I didn't know where else to go. I needed advice, a sense of support, something to help me hold myself together. But these accusations, they're just making me feel even more alone. If you can't believe me, fine, but please don't make this harder than it already is. I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone. Zan said, why was his first thought, maybe my mum did it? Like, why would a normal person's mind go there? Did he let her in? I'm sorry, but if my spouse woke up with her hair butchered, none of my thoughts would be that it could be my mum, unless I knew, or she had done that before to someone else I was with. This is definitely more to that story, and if he isn't immediately on your side, sounds like you have a husband problem along with a mother-in-law problem. Capo K says, I bet his mum told him about Kyle and he didn't care. Still doesn't if he needs to debate whose side he's on. So Tired of BS says, Charge her with B&E as well as assault, because that's what it is. Riggs by Girl says, OP, this is the only way. She broke multiple laws and is clearly unstable. Police report, cameras, change the locks. So OP came in with her first update and says, my mother-in-law cut my hair in my sleep because she thought I cheated on my husband, and now I found out my husband helped her. After the conversation we had with Diane this morning, I noticed my husband, Tim, was acting weird. At first, I thought it was just guilt about standing up to his mum, but it felt like more than that. He's been avoiding eye contact and getting defensive when I bring up what happened. Earlier, I couldn't take it anymore, so I sat him down and told him he needed to be 100% honest with me about everything. That's when he dropped the bombshell. Apparently, Diane didn't come up with the haircut idea on her own. Tim admitted that he knew about it ahead of time and even helped her. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. He said he truly thought I was cheating on him with Kyle, my gay co-worker, because Diane had convinced him that there was too much evidence to ignore. When she suggested cutting my hair as some kind of weird punishment, he didn't stop her. He in fact led her into our house that night while I was sleeping. Tim said he didn't want to confront me directly because he wasn't ready for the truth. So instead, he let his mother do this insane thing to me, thinking it would force me to come clean. Afterwards, when I didn't admit to cheating, he started to realize he might have been wrong. But by then, he didn't know how to tell me what he'd done. He kept saying, I'm so sorry, I was just confused. But I honestly don't know how to process this. This wasn't just Diane acting like a lunatic. This was both of them. And my own husband betrayed me in one of the most humiliating ways possible. I packed a bag and I'm staying with a friend tonight, and while I figure out what to do, I don't know if I can ever trust him again after this. It's not just the haircut, it's the fact that he didn't talk to me, believe the worst about me without any proof, and actively participate in something so cruel and violating. As for Diane, she's officially dead to me. I've already told Tim that I don't want her in my life ever again, regardless of what happens between us. Right now I'm torn. Part of me wants to file a police report on both of them for what they did. But I'm scared of how messy it will get. Another part of me just wants to cut ties and move on. But that feels like letting them off too easy. I don't know what my next step is, but I do know this. I deserve better than this. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this. Your comments and advice have meant the world, and I'm truly grateful for the kindness and understanding. It's helping me find the strength to figure out what comes next. Absolutely, you do not trust Tim again. You do not go back to that guy. He's shown you who he is. Imagine that situation, sleeping in your room, which should be your safe space, with the person you should be able to trust the most. While you're asleep, he's actually awake. His mum comes into the room and cuts your hair. That is sinister. All over some suspicions they had. Not only did he fail to protect you, he actively conspired with your mother to assault you. That's messed up. And I totally agree with you. You have to make your own decision on how you feel about how to take things on, because I can't blame you for wanting to walk away and just getting away from that messed up shit. But I agree that, they shouldn't get off that easy either, because that's just so messed up. But OP comes in with another update and says, I think I'm going to divorce him and I may file a police report. After everything that's happened, I've been thinking a lot about my next steps, and I've come to a heartbreaking but necessary conclusion. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I trusted Tim with my heart, my safety, my life, and he betrayed me in ways I never thought possible. I can't imagine a future where I feel safe with him, where I can trust him, or where I don't carry the weight of this violation every day. I'm strongly considering filing for divorce. The thought of staying with him feels unbearable, but at the same time I can't stop worrying about the messiness of it all. I just want to cut ties completely, to walk away and rebuild my life without him or his mother dragging me down any further. As for filing a police report, I'm leaning towards it, but I'm scared of what it might bring. I know what they did was a crime. My own husband led his mother into our home to assault me in my sleep, but the thought of dealing with legal battles, or even just having to relive this again and again in statements, is exhausting. Part of me wants to hold them accountable, but another part just wants to run far away and never look back. Right now, I'm taking it one step at a time. I've been talking to friends, trying to find some clarity in all this chaos. It's terrifying and painful, but I know one thing for sure. I deserve much better than this. Thank you to everyone who showed me kindness and support. It means the world to me right now. Acorn Girl said to OP, I think she should tell her husband that he has to shave his head as part of his apology. Like that's part of what he has to do before she will even consider coming home. Make him send the selfie. Tell him that this will not fix the situation but is a step in the right direction to prove he's really sorry. And try to get an admission in text of what they did. Like, you did this to me and I don't feel safe, and hopefully he, the mother-in-law, will apologize via text or at least not deny the incident. Try to draw the conversation out over several days and don't go home during the process. Get lots of photos to document the incident before you let anyone else touch your hair, and tell the mother-in-law and husband that they'll be paying for the best, hopefully expensive stylist you can find to fix your hair. Then OP can go ahead and do a police report on both the mother-in-law for assault and domestic violence, and the husband for, aiding and abetting domestic violence and assault, and retain a lawyer right after making the police report. Usually an initial consultation is free. OP should have a legal representation as she moves forward with divorce. I also recommend not going home at all because it won't be safe, even before the bastard shaves his head. There is no way to move past this. I'd never let that man so much as touch my hand ever again if I was OP. Someone who would do this to you is sick and dangerous. What might he do next when he thinks you're cheating or doing anything he doesn't like? Will he scar your face so no one else will want you? Will he do something worse? I'm so sorry they did this to you. Internet hugs if you want them. OP responded saying thank you so much for taking the time to write this. I can't even express how much it means to me to feel seen and supported right now. You're absolutely right. I've been trying to wrap my head around what to do next, and your suggestions really help me see things more clearly. I've already started taking pictures of my hair, and I'm keeping every text as evidence. I hadn't thought about asking for an admission in writing, but that's such a good idea. I'll definitely try to do that. The idea of him shaving his head as part of an apology honestly feels like the bare minimum after what he allowed to happen. I don't think there's any way to truly fix what he's done. I'm terrified of what he or his mum might do next if I go back, so I'm staying with my friend for now while I figure out my options. The thought of filing a police report and getting a lawyer is overwhelming, but I know it might be necessary to protect myself. The betrayal I feel from both of them is unbearable, and I don't think I could ever trust him again. Your words about what could happen next time really hit me hard because I've been trying not to think about that, but deep down, I know you're right. This isn't something I can move past. It's just too big, too cruel, and too dangerous to ignore. Thank you so much for your kindness and for helping me feel like I'm not alone in this. Internet hugs right back at you. Hairy Godmother says your husband is a waste of oxygen and so is his mother. I'll throw hands. Absolutely press charges. Our hair is our glory, and if you're in the NE Alabama area, I will gladly shape up and style your hair. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Opie says thank you so much for this. Honestly, means the world to me right now. If I lived anywhere near Northeast Alabama, I'd absolutely take you up on the offer to help fix my hair. It's such a mess right now, and I feel so embarrassed every time I look in the mirror. Sadly, I'm pretty far away, but your kindness and support make me feel a little less alone in all this. Thank you for being so sweet. Opie then asks, can this conversation with my husband be used for a police report and divorce? And then shows the text messages, which was between OP and the husband, and it said, I need you to be honest with me. Did you know what mother-in-law was going to do? He said, I didn't think it would go this far. Opie said, that is not an answer. Did you know she was planning to cut my hair? Opie says she was upset, okay? She kept saying you needed to learn a lesson, but I didn't think she would actually do it. Opie said, learn a lesson? Are you hearing yourself right now? She told you what she was going to do and you still let her in. Opie says, I thought maybe she'd cool down after talking to you. Opie said she told you she wanted to teach me a lesson by cutting my hair, and you thought it would be fine. What is wrong with you? He said, I didn't think she'd actually go through with it. Opie says, but you didn't stop her either. You didn't warn me, didn't protect me, you just let it happen. He said, I didn't know how to handle it, okay? She was so worked up, I didn't want to make things worse. Opie responded saying, worse? How could it possibly get worse? You knew she was going to do it and you let her. He said, I didn't mean for it to happen like this. Opie said, but it did happen. And now I'm sitting here, humiliated, betrayed, and wondering how I'm supposed to ever trust you again. He said, "I'm sorry, I really am." Opie said, "Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't make me feel safe in my own home anymore. I don't know who you are anymore. I need space to figure this out." He responded with her name, saying, "Please just come home and we can talk about this." Opie said, "No, you made your choice and now I have to make mine." Opie then continued with her post saying, "I'm going through an incredibly traumatic situation and I don't know what my legal options are. My mother-in-law entered my home in the middle of the night with my husband's knowledge and cut my hair while I was sleeping. She did this because she believed I was cheating. I wasn't. I confronted my husband, and while he didn't outright admit to planning this, he essentially confessed to knowing what his mum intended to do and letting her into our house that night. I'm planning to leave him, and I'm seriously considering filing both a police report for assault on my mother-in-law and a report against my husband for enabling her. 1. Would this conversation be enough to support filing a police report for what happened? 2. Could it help me in a divorce if I decide to pursue one? 3. Is it worth consulting a lawyer even if I'm not 100% sure about filing a report yet? I've documented everything, photos of my hair, text messages with my husband, and written down the timeline of events. I just don't know if this conversation would actually hold up as evidence, since he doesn't outright admit to anything but heavily implies it. Any advice is appreciated. I'm feeling lost, scared, and overwhelmed right now." Independent Mess said to that one, "File the report against your mother-in-law as soon as you can. This conversation sounds like it would help the case very much. I'm so sorry this happened to you." Valkyrie's Ride says, "And getting restraining orders against both of them. Don't be alone with either of them. If they both acted this insane about suspected infidelity, there is no telling what they will do when you tell your husband that you are getting divorced." Yeah, and possibly using legal action against them. It just sounds so unhinged. And absolutely, OP's safety is paramount in this situation, but I hope she does take legal action against them, because just the thought process of what happened in that situation is so scary, so unhinged. But if you think about it, in the background, they was talking about this, they was planning this. And after all this, after OP confronts him about it and says, "Can't you see how messed up this is?" And he was just like, "Well, she's overwhelmed and I didn't think she'd actually go through with it." I mean, the fact that they've had this conversation anyway is so incredibly messed up. And whatever choices you make, OP, I really do wish you all the best. Do not go near these people. They are scary. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, this story comes from Save the Plants 999 and says, "Am I the asshole for not watering my wife's plants? Me, 42 male, and my wife, 41 female, have been married for 3 years. My wife has many good qualities, but she is quite disorganized and more than a little lazy. She loves gardening, but I think it's more that she likes the idea of gardening because she's terrible at it. She is the Saddam Hussein of plants. She not only has a poor idea of how to garden, what plants need what kind of care, etc., but mostly because she is so lazy her plants die from neglect. The amount of care needed to help her plants alive is probably no more than 5 to 10 minutes a day, but she can't even manage that. Her position is that it makes her happy and it doesn't really affect me, so what do I care? My position is that it's slightly psychopathic to claim to love plants but not even put in a very modest amount of effort to keep said plants alive. It doesn't make sense to me. Our compromise on this is that we just agree to disagree. I turned a blind eye to a wanton plant torture/murder, so as long as I don't have to participate, and she goes on happily throttling Mother Nature to death in the backyard. Our problem is that my wife is going on vacation for 3 weeks and now wants me to water her plants. I can do this very easily. So could anyone, but I have a moral obligation. I don't want to be involved in a cottage industry of death. To me, I'll be participating in keeping these tortured souls alive, maybe even giving them hope of a better life, only to have it dashed when she returns in 3 weeks to resume a reign of terror. My wife is claiming I'm being dramatic. I am, but I don't think I'm wrong. So we've decided to ask Reddit and will abide by the crowd's decision. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to water her plants? Glad says to OP, do her a favor and install some irrigation while she's away. You could literally make her so happy and have a productive garden. I mean, that's what I would do if I loved my wife. I wouldn't make her feel worse about the things she loves. Worth Season says you're the arsehole. It's watering plants. Maybe show her how her plants can thrive on well-tended care. Edits. I meant for a husband to water plants and when wife gets back, she can see what they should look like. But I do not think it's that big of an ask from your spouse. How hard is it to water the plants once a week? They may disagree on the plants themselves, but overall, spouses do things for each other. No Entertainer says, this is hilarious, but dude, come on, water the plants. A small gesture in the grand scheme of things if you love your wife and want to make her happy. I'm with the comment of seeing if you can automate the watering in some way. I mean, you could just literally get a timed sprinkler. I'm not sure if that'll work, but hey. Ruthless Benedict says you're the arsehole. All these people claiming this is so funny must also dislike their partners, because that's all I get from this. You think she's lazy. You don't agree with something that has fuck all to do with you in the most dramatic way. It costs you minutes, if that, to do one small nice thing, which very likely could put a stop to the thing you hate by the way, and would make her happy, and yet this is the stand you want to make. Let us know how that works out for you. Seriously, I'm a gardener, and nearly all of us have killed a load of plants in our early days, and many of us still do. It's not that deep, but what is messed up is the ridiculous stance of being cruel to your partner for no reason. I hope you don't need her help in the future. And one more comment from St. Mary St. Mike, who says, hey man, my wife started raspberry bushes in the backyard. I told her to do whatever you want, but I don't want to be involved with maintenance. I already take care of our idiot cat, and we have a kid, and the nature of my job means I have the flexibility to do most of the housework, so I didn't want anything added to my plate. You know what I do in the summer when she goes on work trips? Water the dang plants, because she asked me to. I don't touch them when she's here, but if she shoots me a text, hey, do you mind spraying the bushes? I do it. I'm going to call you not the arsehole, because it is stupid that your wife won't water them when she's here, but wants you to water them now. But like, they're plants, my guy. Just water them for your wife. And there was an OP was voted a you're the arsehole in this situation. That's what the post was. But there was a lot of back and forth in the comments saying, oh, you know, she's an adult, etc., etc. She should be looking after the plants. And other people said that OP is exaggerating and does he actually like his wife, etc. But OP did edit the post and says, okay, wow, this ended up getting way more polarizing than I thought. The consensus seems to be that I would be the arsehole, or that I already am and never loved my wife and deserve to die alone. So I will definitely look after the plants. I'm hoping that, like any good children's movie, I can grow from being a grumpy curmudgeon to having a heartwarming relationship with a row of cherry tomatoes. My wife, who has read through all your replies, notes that she is mortified at being outed as a registered plant abuser and will certainly try to do better. I myself have learned not to criticize her online because, just as in real life, people like her a hell of a lot more than me, which she's been cackling about for the last hour. Thanks everyone. But now, what do you guys make of this situation? What would you do in it if it was you? Would you water the plants? Would you not? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.